The Late Lunch with Blackstone Motors Drogheda. The Arrive and Drive used car sale bonanza is now on. A full listing of our quality used stock and special offers is now available at blackstonemotors.ie.
Ouh là là, Blackstone Motors, c'est magnifique.
A couple of weeks ago, I was contacted by a wonderful young woman who lives in Dundalk. Her name is Brittany McInteggart, and she told me all about her beautifully broken project. I was really interested as soon as I heard about it, and here she is today. She's in studio with me. Brittany, you're very welcome to Late Lunch.
Thanks for having me, Gerry.
Not at all. You're so welcome to the show. Now, let me tell listeners, you're not from the town.
No, not from the town.
Tell them where you're from.
I'm from New Jersey, which is in America.
And you were born and reared there?
Yeah, born and reared in New Jersey, and I moved to Ireland in October 2010, and it was a process back and forth. But I hadn't been home since 2012. I was home last year, but no, this is my home now. So.
And what takes you to Ireland? Why are you living here?
Well, I met my partner, so she was from Dundalk, and that's why I moved over here. I didn't really know that I wanted to live in America for my whole life, or New Jersey anyway. So when I come over to Dundalk on holidays, everything made sense to me, if that makes sense to people listening. Do you know what I mean? So, no, this is definitely my home now. I couldn't imagine myself ever moving back to New Jersey.
There you are, New Jersey to the northeast of Ireland, and she loves it. Great to hear it. For you've told me that growing up in New Jersey, it wasn't easy for you. Why?
Yeah, well, my upbringing, now, New Jersey is a lovely place, but my childhood wasn't the easiest. My father wasn't around, and my mum was a single parent. So things weren't the easiest for us anyway, and I was in care when I was 7 because my mum had a drink problem. So that shaped a lot of things for me, and life experience being 7, being in care, it's an awful lot. I can remember everything. So it kind of it messed my mind up a little bit.
Is care not nice? Is that what you say to me?
It wasn't nice for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there is children that have, not that it's a great experience being away from your parents, because it's not, but for me, I hated the entire thing. I didn't like any of it at all. I was in and out of different homes, and the home that I actually did settle in, I absolutely hated. I couldn't. It was terrible. But I wasn't in it for long. It was about 7 or 8 months, but it was the longest 7 and 8 months of my life at that age.
So you've had to deal with an awful lot through your young life.
And that was only the beginning of it. It only got worse as the years went on for me. I don't know what it was. It's just, there was a rough path for me, but I've kind of made my way now, and
you've come out the other side.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that you've emerged?
Sometimes, yeah, especially with the project. I feel like when I do something good or somebody tells me that I've helped them, it helps me. But sometimes I am still very stuck in the past, and I do struggle a lot with the past. And more now, I don't know what it is now I'm getting older. Do you know what I mean? I question a lot of the things that happen. So, but I guess that's just natural, really, isn't it? You have to deal with it in your own way.
It's not easy for a lot of people. You also had a massive trauma in your family. You said your dad wasn't...
No, he wasn't really around. I had only met him in and out. He was in when I was smaller and stuff like that. But when I was about 15, I met him once, and I got into a fight with him and told him I didn't want to see him again. And I didn't see him again. You don't think about these things. And then a couple of years later, he took his own life. And the last memory I have is telling him I didn't want anything got to do with him. So that's haunted me. I blame myself for my dad's suicide, even though I know I had nothing to do with it. When you're 17 and your father passes away, anybody, let alone suicide.
Yes.
So that was very traumatic.
So you have to carry that with you as well.
I still carry
even
that with me.
Even though you do realise it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But it's easy for me to say that, I know to you, but it's different.
It eats away at me. Yeah. It did at the time, because I didn't find out that my father passed away until he was 7 months dead. You know what I mean? So that just goes to show you, it ate away at me. It always will, I think. But I know that he's with me spiritually, and I know that he definitely does watch over me. So that's something for me anyway.
What about your mum? Is she still there?
Yeah, my mum's still alive. Yeah, she lives in New Jersey.
And have you any other siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
No, just you're an only child. Yeah. So you moved to Ireland. Over you come with your partner to Ireland. Dundalk is home now. You call it home.
Yeah.
Was it difficult making that transition, or did she make it easy for you?
Oh no, Anya definitely made it easy for me. But it was hard at some points, but I think I didn't really mind it too much. But the last couple of years I kind of miss home, but it's not that I miss home, I miss the atmosphere of home, if that makes sense. So no, Anya and her family have definitely made it a lot easier for me. At first I couldn't wait to get away from New Jersey. like I said, I went through a big rough patch, so a lot of that was the reason I couldn't wait to get away from New Jersey.
Yeah.
But no, I love here now. I'm settled here now. Like I said, I couldn't imagine going back home. I think that would be crazy for me to go back home and live back there. I'd have to get used to everything all over again.
Exactly. And for you, besides your dad, I want to mention as well, it wasn't just your dad that took his life. Some of your friends.
Yeah, I lost 2 friends that I would have grown up with to suicide as well. Chelsea and then Kenny as well. And that was very, very upsetting. I couldn't believe it. I mean, Chelsea was like an older sister to me. You know what I mean? But you lose touch with people, and then when you move to Ireland, it makes it difficult and stuff like that. But I was actually in New Jersey when she did pass away, so that made it all the worse.
And would you have put her in the category, if you can describe a category of somebody who might be vulnerable to doing something like this?
I didn't think so, but I
and
suppose...
the other guy?
Kenny, definitely not. Definitely not. The 2 of them were very outgoing people. I mean, I'm sure that they might have suffered in their own way. I just never saw it. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing the project at the time. Maybe if I had been, maybe I could have done something. I often think about that because they left behind siblings and families and stuff like that. And I'm very close to Chelsea's sister. And, it drives me absolutely mad because I'm just like, I feel so bad. Do you know what I mean? I wish that I could have been there or just known something or helped them. But then they suffer in silence, and I think that's really what happens.
Yeah. And then when you come to Ireland, tell us the story about, you went to O'Fee College to study.
Yeah, I went to O'Fee College to study.
And you were talking to a classmate there.
Yeah, I was talking to a classmate. We were sitting at our lunch one day, and we knew that we had to do an exhibition at the end of the year. And I was thinking, I knew I was going to do something on suicide and mental health. And all of a sudden, the name, the Beautifully Broken Project, come into my head. I knew that I wanted to give it a name. I didn't just want it to have no name. It would have meant more to me to have a name. And I just said, I'm going to write that down. I said it to nobody in the class, but I happened to be talking to a young fellow in my class at the time. And he was a lovely young fellow. And then a couple of days later, it had to have only been a couple of days later, he took his own life as well. And that was a shocker. He was such a lovely young fellow. He really, really was. And it was a big shock for the class. And it was a big shock for me because it was just him I was talking to when it came into my head, so it was really strange.
This has followed you. Do you
yeah,
ever feel
it's just
that?
followed me.
It's followed you even here to Ireland, to be touched by this, on a number of occasions. So you'd actually, there's something strange in this.
It's like I was supposed to do it in a sense or something.
So this came to you, this name, the Beautifully Broken Project. Explain that name. Why did you opt for that name? What does that say?
Well, I firmly believe we're all beautiful human beings, but some of us, or maybe all of us, are slightly broken in our own ways. So I think it describes everybody. I think it describes people that are suffering silence, definitely, because that's the way I put it. I want to be the voice for people that are suffering in silence, people that have taken their own lives, their families are left behind, that kind of thing. So I firmly believe it's a good name. I've had people give me backlash about it, but maybe they just don't understand it, or maybe they don't want to understand it, but it makes sense to me and I wouldn't change it.
There are none of us without a flaw.
Yeah,
That is the truest thing you ever said. Show me the perfect person.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just don't exist.
No, so the people that would say, that's not a good name, I'd say, well, maybe you need to take a step back and look at it different. So
this is the name, and that's what it describes. But what is it? Explain what it does.
Yeah, of course. Well, so my project is basically what I did in O'Fee College was I was doing photographic studies. So what I do is I take the photos of people who would suffer with mental health issues, who would have lost a loved one, that kind of thing. And I take the pictures 9 times out of 10 in a place that would mean something to them. So, for example, I've taken a picture of somebody in a church in Dundalk, and that church would mean a lot to them. And then together with that, they send me their story, what they want in their story. It doesn't have to be the whole entire thing. It's just a section even. And that goes up on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and it shows people that they aren't suffering alone. That there are other people that's suffering, and men as well. I've had a few men. I've had more women than I've had men. I'd love to branch out and get more men involved because men do suffer. And that goes up on social media, and it shows people that they aren't alone, that kind of thing. I've shared my own story on it. And people, I think they get a little bit put off by the fact that you have to get your photo taken, but the photo, you don't have to show your face in the photo. There's 100 different ways to take a photo.
I've seen them. You can actually have this photograph taken, folks, and you're not identified. A silhouette, it can, you can turn your back. You don't have to be identified. Some people do. I've seen people.
Some people have taken
are
with
very happy.
Yeah, and they're very happy to show their face because they're not afraid. There is people that's afraid, and that's fine. That is your personal choice. I'm not going to overstep the boundaries with anyone. But I want people to know you don't have to show your face. And you don't have to share everything. You can change your name, share a section of your story. If you think it's going to help somebody, share it, because it will help somebody, definitely. You do come across a lot of people, I'm not brave enough yet. That's fine. Just follow the project. You will come to a time where you'll be ready, and I'll always be there waiting.
So it's either for people who are in the past, you know, felt broken, using this broken word, and in despair, and maybe thinking, what's this all about? Yes. Who are now maybe in a good space. For people who are in that space at the moment, and also for people who are relatives of some people who maybe have left us.
Yes, who have left us. You know, this goes with anything. People who would suffer with postpartum, is that after you have a child? Anything like that. So, and I also launched a new part of the project, which is called Standing Strong. And that's for anybody who would suffer, lost somebody, or any supporters. And all they have to do is hold a cardboard piece of paper with a quote on it, and I do them in a public place, because why I chose to do them in a public place is if people see it being done during the day in a shopping centre, on the road, something, and they see that on Facebook later on, they're going to want to look at that, because they're like, I saw that being done. So I opened Standing Strong there. It's not long going. I think I only started doing that in February, and that's gotten popular as well. But the project's slowed down. I haven't had much going to it, but every day I'm online. I'm trying to get it out there. So that's why I reached out, because I know it's something that's worth going forward, and I just want people to understand who I am, what I'm doing, and that I'm just like them, because I suffer myself. So I get it.
And you can pick a place that's special to you, or may have been special to someone, and that adds to it as well. That
adds to it more, I don't know if you want to say intimate or personal. Yes. That kind of thing, What
about the semicolon? It's important to mention this.
Yes, the semicolon. So a semicolon would be represented in like where a sentence could have ended but didn't if you're writing. So basically it goes the same with somebody, like I have a semicolon next to my dad's signature on my arm. So his story might have ended but mine didn't. So that's where that comes into play. So I draw a semicolon on everybody that does the project photo.
It's called The Beautifully Broken Project, and I'm talking to the brains behind it, Brittany McIntegar, and late lunch this afternoon, all the way from New York to Dundalk. There's a lovely little ring, I think, about that. Unfortunately for you, life is laid out, I think, in front of us anyway. You've no say. It takes you in a direction.
You're going to go whatever way it wants to go.
Absolutely. But you've been touched by suicide more than most, I would say, from what you've even told me today.
I suppose you could probably say that. It's been more than once, twice.
Do you ever think about your dad, for a start, you know, who took his own life, even though you hadn't a close relationship with him? Do you ever ask the question, or the people who you come into contact in this format, why?
Well, I definitely have asked myself that a million times with my dad, where my dad's concerned. I've tried to figure it out, you know what I mean? Why did he do it? What was going on? Is there something that could have been done? The families that I've come in contact with, I think they ask the same questions. One of the major questions when somebody commits suicide is, why? Why did they do it? Could we have done something different? I think once their mind's made up, it's made up. And I think a lot of times they stay quiet about it. Do you know what I mean? But the reason I want to be the voice for people who are suffering in silence is because it does get better. You know, things definitely do get better. I know, like, we all go through our own things. I've been at that place before, but thank God that I never did take my own life, because I have my purpose now.
Did you ever go down that road, even if you say it's a road and you say people become quiet and the mind is made up? Have you been on that journey yourself?
I've been heavily depressed, but I took my depression in a different sense than I maybe other people would have. Like, when I found out that my dad had passed away, I went heavily into drinking. But, you know, I stopped. I can't stand drinking now. Like, do you know what I mean? So at the time, it was something that I did.
A crutch for you?
Yeah, it was a crutch for me. And I blamed my dad for how bad my drinking was. It wasn't the right thing to do, but I made mistakes. I'm not perfect. I've gone through a lot of stuff in my life, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I definitely think that, you know, one of the major questions is why? Why did they do it?
Isn't it torture? And I know when I say this, people may get a little bit annoyed, but isn't it torture for those left behind? If anybody is, you know, on this journey, or
I can understand what you mean.
This, you know, the people who are left behind,
it's the torture
of the wise.
Well, they have to try and figure it out.
They beat themselves up, I'm sure, like you did yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that message, do you not feel that message needs to be told as well? I know people have their own lives and they make their own decisions.
Yeah, to maybe help people understand. Yeah, I think with me, that's why I try and be there for, like, people come in contact with me. I lost my son, my daughter, and such. I try and just be there for them. I can't give them answers. I'm not a doctor. answer. Do you know what I mean? But I can only help them try and understand why it happened, if at all, or just be there for them as a friend, because I know it was really tough for me, but I don't know that we really ever get the answers. So I think it's difficult because you don't always get an answer. You can only create a community where people can help each other, and that's what I'm aiming to do.
And by these stories, they are bringing more people out there saying, look, this is me, this is my story.
Yes.
And with that in mind, that's your aim to start the talk, start the chat, get people saying, I'm not alone here.
Exactly, that's the whole point in my project. You know, the more people that speak out, the better. You don't realise, you know, you're suffering in silence, sitting thinking, I'm the only person going through this, but you're not. And you might think you are, and I think it's easier said than done, but you're not the only person suffering. You know, I done the Darkness into Light walk and Dundalk, and the amount of people. And I just said, oh my God, look. I couldn't believe it. Thousands of people were there. So that just goes to show you. It's just about people standing up and talking. And I do think that they can do it, maybe in their own time. But I'm always a friend for people to talk to and just try and get them to.
What about your partner? And, you know, she worries about you, I'm sure. And
oh, yeah, she does. Because my anxiety and depression past, I'd say, year has been quite bad. But her and the project keep me going. If it wasn't for her and my project, I'd wallow in self-pity, if you'd say that, if that's the appropriate thing to say. Because I get myself awfully down, and only for her, she keeps me going. She really does.
So where do you see this, Brittany, headed? How would you like to see this evolve? You want more people?
Yeah, I'd love more people to get involved. Find me on Facebook,
check you
that
out.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So the easiest way is the Beautifully Broken Project on Facebook.
On Facebook, I have a group and I have a like page, and then I have a normal friend page, which is Brittany Suicide Awareness Helen. So you can add me. That page is public. The Suicide Awareness Helen one. You can find me on any of them. I just want people to get to know what I'm doing and maybe take part. And where I see it headed, I would love to have a book someday. That's definitely one of my big goals. I'd love to be able to go on more newspapers, magazines, radio stations to talk about it, to get more people to know about it. You know, I go on Instagram and Facebook with live videos talking to people, giving advice, so that's a good way for people to get to know me as well. And I've started to design t-shirts as well and stuff like that, so if people want to support what I'm doing and get to know it, they can find out about that as well. I can definitely see it going big and being something major. I don't think that it'll stay small forever. I just think it takes it takes stories.
Yes.
You can't have something like this without people. So I am appealing for people to get involved. If you're not ready in your own time, if you're not ready right now, that's fine. Just get involved, follow what I'm doing. When you are ready, I'll be there. You know, it's not going to stop. I have no intention of ever stopping this.
May I remark for listeners that you like tattoos?
Oh yeah, I'm covered in them. I really am covered in them.
When did you get your first?
My first tattoo was on my 19th birthday in 2010. I had the memory yesterday. I was scrolling down Facebook because it was my birthday yesterday. And I said, oh my God, I actually got that on my birthday. I couldn't even remember. It feels like forever ago because I'm 26 now. I feel like ancient, but I know I'm not. I'm only young.
You're only a whippersnapper. Come off out of that. You're only starting out on this journey. But you like them. They're tasteful, I say, and you've plenty of space still to...
I do have plenty of space. Like, my one sleeve's nearly finished. My other one's kind of going. That's kind of life experience and stuff.
You wouldn't like to be covered in them, I think.
No, I wouldn't go neck or face. But the rest of me, I don't really care. You know what I mean? It is. You only have one life to live. Why not enjoy it? And
do they all say something about you and...
Yeah, my whole left arm sleeve is all to do with my mother and stuff. My right arm sleeve, it's all basically bits and pieces about me. So I have my dad's signature from a Christmas card that he sent me. I have a camera because I love photography. I have a quote on my arm that says, "Don't let the darkness of the past cover the brightness of the future." And that really represents the struggle that I went through when I was a teenager and where I was when I moved over here and stuff like that. And they just go on. I have the Beautifully Broken Project tattooed on me.
I see, yes.
I couldn't wait to get that one. I just had to wait for the right design, and they just go on. I have Firecracker.
So significant they are to you and important to you as well.
They represent me.
Well, I just wanted to introduce you to people today on the show.
Well, hopefully people take up and listen to it, you know what I mean?
Every little help in
Every
this
little
area
helps, exactly.
It's so important.
And I'd love to travel with the project. You know, I took it to New Jersey when I was in New Jersey in the summer. I've been to Belfast, I've been to Dublin. I'm going to Dublin now again in 2 weeks to tell a story. I'd love to travel more, but it's all it's all in my own time, obviously,
Yes,
because
yeah.
I don't get funding or anything.
I know
so.
that. I know that. Well, look, good luck to you with it.
Thank you.
I love the name. The Beautifully Broken Project is the name, and you've been listening to Brittany McIntyre with me on Late Lunch this afternoon. Lovely to meet you, and good luck.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.